What's up, guys? I'm bringing to you today an Ultra League premiere video. This is my first video on Ultra League in a very long time. Um, this is a team that I created and then found out that I think Zionic has actually run the same team in the past. The only difference being that the Magnezone that I'm using is Shadow. So I don't know. This might be one of those great minds think alike type things, or maybe not. We'll find out in this video. But first of all, quick announcement. I have been streaming recently, just for the holidays. You can find me on Twitch. I'll put the link in the description. I've been streaming at noon PST just over these holidays on the weekdays, and obviously not on like Christmas or anything like that. But yeah, I've just taken some time off work. So you can check out some live gameplay there. And as always, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, this ever-growing list. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, let's get into this video a little bit. So this is a bit different than some of my previous sets. All of these sets were actually played on stream. So if you were watching, you probably would have seen this gameplay already. I'll commentate a little bit over it. I usually commentate during the stream as well, but it's a bit different when you're looking back on it instead. The other thing here is that the quality of my gameplay is a little bit lower because I'm a bit distracted responding to people's questions and stuff like that while I'm playing. So this team didn't bring me quite as much success as I would generally expect. But learning to play with the chat going has been a fun learning experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'll go a little bit over how this team works as we get through this first game. Originally, I was playing with a Toxicroak lead. Toxicroak, unfortunately, left my team pretty weak to Swampert. So I swapped it up with Gallade, and it seems to have filled up the holes a lot better. I also do like the fact that Gallade has access to close combat, so I'm able to really pressure shields from that lead position and then clear my debuff. Kind of like the Hariyama Typhlosion Gengar team that I used to run. So we're going to see in this case, we have two steel types in the back, so it's your stereotypical ABB style team that I make a lot of, so you probably know a lot about at this point. And we have Gallade, Empoleon, Magnezone. So yeah, the main thing that Empoleon won't draw out for Magnezone is that Swampert that we're talking about in the back, which can be kind of an issue. But yeah, let's get into these games. Gallade is actually, Obstagoon is actually really tough here. So this is a counter user with a dark type. Scrafty would also be tough. So unfortunately, Gallade needs to take care of this, but Gallade also really has to land a close combat to do anything. And for some reason, my opponent has some real chutzpah right there and decides to no shield despite the fact that I've charged up to a close combat. So the normal way I play this is charge up to close combat bait. I would expect them to take the bait, but yeah, this time they didn't. They didn't take the first one. They did take the second one, but because they're loaded up a little bit, I swap out, and they actually have a cross chop. So this Obstagoon running cross chop and Night Slash, I'm going to throw my energy. I really need to get rid of this Obstagoon. I don't think my opponent realized how big of an issue Obstagoon is for this team. And we're going to see a Slowbro come in. And I'm just going to try and get to this Drill Peck before the Confusions take me down. And just to try and do as much damage as possible. But Slowbro generally runs Psychic and Ice Beam. So Magnezone resists every single charge move and fast move that this Slowbro is running. So the goal here is that I can tank a charge move, and I can farm down. So I'm probably going to have to spend another shield here if he gets to another charge move. But that's perfectly fine with me. Shadow Magnezone is incredible with energy, but unfortunately a little bit squishy. So yeah, I don't think it quite performed as well. Okay, so this is important too. So I throw this Wild Charge and a Charm gets through, so I'm going to swap so that Charm hits my Gallade instead. If my Magnezone takes a double debuffed Wild Charge, it probably would faint there. So this is one of those advanced mechanics things. That's I think advanced mechanics 2 deferral of fast move damage right there that absolutely won me a game, pretty much by itself. So that's just another reminder to keep mechanics in mind, because they can turn the game every once in a while. So we're going to see a Dragonite lead here. I actually have started staying in versus these with Gallade and throwing my close combat and getting out. If I can get out before the Dragon Claw, that's great, because then I can tank that Dragon Claw on something like Empoleon instead. So this Machamp is actually going to get to a Cross Chop, but luckily it's not a Shadow Machamp, so Empoleon survives a little bit of health. I'm going to be able to get my Drill Peck off, and this Machamp is going to not be able to bring any energy, well, 2 counters worth of energy into the Gallade matchup. And because of this, I'm going to be able to, well, I will shield because I'm not 100% sure that I can survive the Cross Chop and the resulting counters, and I do want to be able to throw this close combat at whatever comes in. So interesting, they come with Empoleon. I was actually very scared they were going to come with Dragonite and just instantly go for the Dragon Claw, forcing me to shield. But instead they come in with Empoleon. These waterfalls hurt a lot. They hurt a lot more than anything Dragonite can do. So I'm going to take out that Empoleon right away. And the Dragonite's going to come back in and straight up go for the Outrage. So smart play by them, honestly. If they went for the Dragon Claw bait, they're not going to get to another Dragon Claw to be able to fade me. So their one chance was that I don't shield there, hoping for the bait. So you see that team kind of working out how it should. We have a Togekiss lead here. This is not a very good lead, but I'm going to swap out to Empoleon, and Swampert comes in. So this is best case scenario when Swampert comes into Empoleon, and it happens a decent amount just because Swamperts are generally running Earthquake. But because of the nature of this lead, I kind of have to no shield here and just hope they're going for a Hydro Cannon. And because they did, I actually have a chance to win this game now. A lot of Swampers have been baiting with Hydro Cannon, so I stopped shielding the first one, even though it is extremely risky. It's not as big of a deal now as when I was running Toxicroak, because Gallade can deal with that Swampert if I get to Leaf Blade. So this Tangrowth is going to come in, shield the first Drill Peck, and try and farm me all the way down, but I'm just going to keep throwing Drill Pecks over and over and over. And now I have a little bit of a tough decision to do. I go in with Gallade, and they're going to immediately swap, so I'll immediately swap as well, and they're just going to GG out. I was a bit worried they would stay in and throw energy versus my Gallade, as my Magnezone is the Pokemon that resists that damage instead. So I got a bit lucky there, but that's how it goes. Another Dragonite lead. So Dragonite lead, like I said, let's get to that close combat. Unfortunately, Dragonite actually does beat you to close combat. So they are going to throw Dragon Claw here. Ideally, I think I must have lagged a turn because I should have been CMP tied into this. But sometimes it seems I'm not. And you see how hard that close combat hits? I swap anyways to Empoleon because I want to draw out their fighting type if they have one. And they don't. So it's a Venusaur here. Venusaur versus Empoleon isn't bad just because Empoleon can deal quite a bit of damage back with Drill Peck. My goal here is to try and get shields down because Shadow Magnezone desperately needs shields down. So I'm going to trade a shields to block a Frenzy Plant so that they'll have to be forced to block a Drill Peck. And now I'm going to let my Empoleon go down, or it's going to be close. Fortunately, they're going to be able to farm down, but I'm going to be able to come in with Gallade here. And they're going to swap right away, so I'm going to swap right away too. This is a very similar matchup. I know that Empoleon, with that little bit of energy advantage, is going to beat me to the charge move. So I am going to just keep counting and make sure I have 2 wild charges up. So I can take down this Empoleon and at the very least deal some pretty big damage to this Venusaur. Because I don't think that my Gallade is going to be able to just Confusion down this Venusaur. It might have to though. But having it at 1 Confusion versus like 2 is the difference between a win and a loss there. So hitting that wild charge is very important, and then Magnezone being able to pressure with Mirror Shot. I just realized that the moves for Magnezone are wrong in my graphic, so I'm very sorry about that. My Magnezone is most certainly not running an Electric counter, Foul Play, and Power Up Punch. Oh boy. It is running Spark, Mirror Shot, and Wild Charge, as pretty much every Magnezone does. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll put a link in the or not a link. I'll put a note in the description or something. So in this case, I'm trying to swap out to catch the Hydro Cannon, but because of the way the turns work, I get there on the 16th turn, and I need to swap on the 15th turn, so you can't really do that with Confusion. But I'm going to throw my Close Combat anyways, trade shields, and now my Empoleon has a health lead on their Empoleon, And I'm going to try and do some fast move denial here. And because I get that fast move denial off, I'm going to be ahead of them in Hydro Cannon, or en route to a Hydro Cannon. Which means in this case that I'll actually just take them down. So winning that matchup like that is very big, because I actually come out of this with a full charge move as well as having dealt quite a bit of damage to their Empoleon, and now that charge move turns into quite a bit of damage on their Dragonite. So in this case, I'm going to bring in Magnezone. Magnezone and Gallade both have self-debuffing charge moves, so they're both very adequate at coming in after the Empoleon swap, because the other one can always clearly debuff. So I'm charging all the way up. This is maybe a little bit too much, and I decided I have to throw energy, because otherwise I'm going to get Dragon Breath down. And Charizard comes out, and I'm one turn away from being able to get off that Wild Charge, and unfortunately this is going to be game. Shadow Magnezone is just a little bit too squishy in this case. And I know there will be questions in the comments about if you can run this with regular Magnezone. I think it might actually be better with regular Magnezone, because just the extra bulk that you do get, I think does come into play here. Shadow Magnezone is incredibly squishy. It's mostly fast moves that are like resisted fast moves that are taking him down. So in the lead here we have Escavlier. This is also like a very troublesome Pokemon for this team. So I'm going to go for the close combat. I didn't charge up to 2 because I was kind of panicking, not sure what to do. But I'm going to swap to Empoleon. And the problem here is that I need to shield Drill Run as well. Otherwise, I'm going to take that much damage. And fortunately, they swap to catch this Hydro Cannon on a Dragonite. So a little bit of a rough situation here. But because they're locked in, I'm able to go into my Magnezone and just farm up. So the goal here is to just get as much energy as possible without spending as many shields as I can. Unfortunately, I don't want this Dragonite to get to a second Dragon Claw. So I'm going to throw my Wild Charge right now. They're going to obviously let it go down, and they're going to come with Shadow Swampert. So yeah, this thing actually, like, look how much the damage those Mud Shots are doing to my poor Magnezone. I'm going to swap right away, and they're going to bring in Escavalier. So I just want to get rid of this guy before he gets another charge move. And the Leaf Blade doesn't quite get there. So either way, I let my Gallade go down because I know this game is essentially over. These Mud Shots are not going to, like, yeah, it's like one Mud Shot does a significant amount of Shadow Magnezone's health. So this next matchup, we're going to see a Magnezone lead. This is an interesting lead. I kind of panic. This is not what you should do. You should not swap Empoleon into Magnezone, I would say. You can maybe close combat and then swap into Empoleon into Magnezone. But that was really risky, and luckily they did have a fighter, so they did want to switch in, and they're going to throw their energy here. So Gallade will have a little bit of an easier time. Yeah, I'm just waiting down the switch clock a little bit because I don't want my Gallade stuck in there with whatever comes back in. And yeah, it's a Night Slash, so just neutral effectiveness because Gallade is a fighting type as well as a psychic type. But we'll see what they bring back in, and it's a Drifblim, so this is not looking very good. I lag quite a bit there, so unfortunately this Drifblim gets a huge energy lead. But I decided my only chance is that if they are throwing an Icy Wind, and they're going to come back in with their own Magnezone. So I shield this anyways, even though if they're going to throw this early, it is most likely a Mirror Shot. And this one's also most likely a Mirror Shot, but I will probably shield it. Oh no, I let this one through. And I've decided I've had enough of this. He's used all his energy on Mirror Shots, so I'm going to go straight in with the Wild Charges. They're going to need to shield if they want to be able to do anything. And I have a lot of energy stored up on my Gallade, so I'm going to swap right away, catch them with their pants down a little bit. And unfortunately, they've got a Drifblim, which is one of the hardest counters to Gallade left. But fortunately, I do have a shield, so they actually are kind of forced to hex me down and throw 2 charge moves at Magnezone. But I'm going to get to that all-important Leaf Blade and be able to take this win. Yeah, I think actually lose one of the sets in this series of sets as well. Ultra League has never been one of my better leagues, so yeah, it's been a bit rough. So I'm going to swap right away. Alolan Muk also very good versus Gallade. And I'm just going to tank a move on Empoleon just in case they do have a fighter that will come in and farm me down. In this case, they don't. But they somehow managed to swap to Lapras to catch a move, despite the fact that I had overcharged a decent amount. But then again, it's Lapras versus an Empoleon, which, in my opinion, is like, I know some people have different opinions on this, but the pressure's all on the Lapras player to win this matchup, unless your Lapras has amazing IVs. So for me, I just have to throw Drill Pecks. I don't have to worry about anything. They have to worry about Skull Bashes, baiting Surfs, stuff like that. And because they miss bait here, I'm able to actually come out of this situation pretty good. So they come in with Gengar. Gengar versus Gallade is a pretty interesting matchup. Unfortunately, Gengar can win if you fast move deny and throw 2 Shadow Punches in the 1 shield. But I have 2 shields. So the other thing here is I don't have 2 shields anymore because I'm going to have to shield my Magnezone because I miscounted moves. So I'm going to throw the Mirror Shot here. The Gengar is going to be an issue. And I have to farm all the way down. That's my only chance. They have 2 shields in the Gengar. I have to Mirror Shot and Mirror Shot again. The Gengar is low enough that I should be able to Mirror Shot it down. I actually Mirror Shot. I probably should Wild Charge there for sure. But this Gengar now has a Shadow Punch ready. So because it has a Shadow Punch ready, my Gallade needs to live it. And we will find out if it does. Yeah, barely lives it, and the Confusion's enough to take down the Gengar. So I was able to maneuver around this team a little bit, despite the really awful lead, and the fact that Gengar actually has the ability to beat every single Pokemon on this team in the 1 shield. And it's much better in the 0 shield, obviously, versus every Pokemon on this team. So this next match, we have a Gallade Mirror. In this mirror, same thing as last time. I'm going to go up to close combat, but that's only so I can fast move deny and throw the Leaf Blade. I think they had the same idea as well. And there, yeah, we're just going to trade shields on the Leaf Blade. I'm going to swap out because what I don't want to happen is to take a close combat. So I think actually in a previous set, I had taken an Invisible Confusion and been close combated. So I didn't want that to happen again. So I decided to shield, and luckily, despite the fact that I probably was counting wrong, it worked out. I don't mind spending a shield on Empoleon there. And in this case, their Magnezone uses Wild Charge, and I'm able to farm down with my own Magnezone, which is absolutely huge. So Gallade comes back in. I'm able to just throw a Mirror Shot, and hopefully we'll be able to deal with what's in the back. So I have to swap to catch the Hydro Cannon here. This is my only win condition. So we're going to get this Hydro Cannon, but unfortunately for me, actually, this guy undercharges, which is pretty smart, but I get to the close combat, and he has to call that bait, otherwise it's game over. Yeah, so we're going to look at how I catch this Ponyta right here. Great throw. But yeah, this team, actually, I don't know. I expected it to be a little bit better. It's still been doing pretty well, but I have since then experimented with the orientation of the team a little bit. Actually, it's this one I'm not going to pretend that I made. This is Tactical's team, not this particular one, but the one that I was currently trying, because it looked interesting, and it was pretty much the same core, just in a different order of Pokemon that I had been trying, so I already knew all the matchups. But we're going to see another Magnezone lead. Oh, sorry. And same thing as before, right? I'm going to this time try and catch a move on my own Magnezone, and unfortunately it's a Wild Charge, which really hurts. This means I'm going to have to shield the next one. They can probably bait if they wanted, because I probably would have shielded regardless. But in comes the Dragonite, so I thought this was an interesting swap from them. Just because Magnezone really does hurt Dragonite, and yeah, I was trying to get to that Wild Charge. I probably should have thrown later, but instead I forced them to throw their energy anyways. So because of that, I'm going to be able to go into Empoleon. And this is a I won't say it's like a good matchup, but it's a comfortable matchup, right? Like both Pokemon go down pretty slowly, a lot of resisted damage here, and you can kind of see what's going on. I should maybe throw that Drill Peck one Waterfall later, but they get to the Hurricane, and my Empoleon takes a ton of damage from that. Yeah, and they're going to come with Kingdra. So this is the classic double dragon team. So hopefully I didn't CMP tie there, because it looks like I was trying to press the button, but I get Octazooka and my attack drops. I have to go for this Leaf Blade, and they actually swapped the Magnezone to catch it. So yeah, really well played by my opponent. They read me absolutely like a book. I'm pretty sure they had that game anyways. But that was more of a just a complete flex on me. Actually, maybe not my Empoleon energy, but yeah, they played this game extremely well. That was a really good catch, and instead of quitting because I'm on stream, I let them take me down, and yeah, they flex on me with the Octazooka at the end as well. It's not like I was going to get to another charge move there, but yep, this next game, we've got a Dragonite versus Gallade. Been a lot of Dragonite leads recently, so we're going to see, yep, the Dragon Claw come out. I think this might have been the game where I got quite upset that I didn't CMP tie. Oh no. I just still have PTSD from this. But I'm going to swap to Empoleon anyways. I like to be able to burn that shield, and out comes the Obstagoon. So luckily I have burned a shield already, which is really good for me because I need shields down to take care of this goon. That is for sure. And unfortunately it's also running Cross Job. That seems to be the preferred moveset for Ultra Premier at least. As opposed to the Gunk Shot, which I find a bit weird. I think Gunk Shot has a lot of play with all the fairies. But I'm going to have to come in with Gallade. And unfortunately, my moves don't do very good damage versus Obstagoon. So I'm going to elect to let Gallade go down and just hope that my Magnezone can take down the rest of their team with a little bit of an energy advantage. So we're going to see... Oh, yeah, we're going to see this Dragonite get to a move, and I'm going to have to shield because I'm extremely low. And unfortunately, I'm locked into this Mirror Shot, which it turns out is actually probably the better play because I'm able to farm down that Dragonite later. Unfortunately, this Shadow Snorlax just needs to get to one Body Slam, and they don't call my bait. Or they do call my bait, sorry. And they're able to get to the superpower. So a couple of rough games in a row here. But you definitely can't win them all, that's for sure. And Ultra League is a totally different beast. But yeah, I do like the meta in Premier. There's a lot of Pokemon that are viable, which is a lot of fun. It's not like Master Premier. It's just a lot of the teams seem almost random. Like they don't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, so I thought I CMP tied there, but they got a Dragon Breath through. This is not the one I was complaining about, but I'll complain about it anyways. I'll swap into my Empoleon, and they're going to swap into Air Slash Togekiss. This is maybe one of the hardest counters to Air Slash Togekiss. None of the charge moves that it can possibly run put a dent in Empoleon. Flamethrower is probably the best of them, but because Empoleon's also a water type, it doesn't really take any damage. So this is the no shield. Look how much damage I took. Almost nothing. They're going to come right back in with another fairy. It's a double fairy team. Their Dragonite is super low as well. And at this point, double fairy teams or double charm teams, this team is very, very good against. Obviously, double steel beats double charm 99% of the time. You really kind of have to mess up for that to happen. And I'm really hoping that I'm not the 1% here. So I'm just going to try and farm this Dragonite down, and then I have a charge move to throw at Granbull, so we'll go for the wall charge overkill here. Yeah, so finally bringing it back, but this team comp is like a no-lose. You can't lose that team comp for sure. Yeah, we'll see in this this next game here. We have an Empoleon lead. Lots of Empoleons after Community Day, but I mean, what can I say? I'm running Empoleon too. So, okay, here's a lesson in fast move denial. I got my waterfall through, and I'm trying not to let them get their waterfall through because my Empoleon is locked in and theirs isn't. I'm trying to build up as much energy as I can. So you can see they didn't get their waterfall through. So I'm able to get to this next waterfall before they are, and I swapped in. So they're forced to blow a shield here. And the other advantage is, so I got another waterfall through, is that if I match shields with them, I am going to win the race down. So I'm going to get out of this or a Hydro Cannon or Drill Peck, and a little bit of energy on top of that. But my Empoleon's so low, it won't be able to deal with it. But that just goes to show that I was two waterfalls ahead by the end of that, just because of mechanics. So there's the important mechanics right there, and those really slow mirrors. I'm sure it's even more important in like something like a Lapras versus Lapras mirror. But in this case, I'm actually kind of praying, like you'll hear me say on stream, I'm praying for the debuff, because when they're debuffed, they don't shield, and I don't want them to shield close combat. Close combat hits so hard, and Kingdras only don't shield if they get debuffed. Unfortunately, in this case, I'm in a bit rough here. I really need to burn a shield, but I don't get it. And I'm in a bit of trouble, so this is my fault. You really should not bait as much as I've been baiting. Yeah, just don't bait that much. I don't know. Almost all my baits failed. I think my win rate in these sets would have been, I probably would have won 3 more games if I had just gone for straight for moves. Because the entire point of this team is to take down shields for Magnezone, and if you don't bait, then at least you get that guaranteed like shield down, right? Like you get the shield down even if they shield. So yeah, this is the one I was upset. So I should have false CMP tied that Empoleon, but for some reason I was a little bit behind it. I ended up throwing this energy into this Togekiss because it wasn't a true CMP tie. But Togekiss comes in, and once again it's an Air Slash Togekiss. This one, yeah, none of them are running Flamethrower. It's running Aerial Ace, Ancient Power, and I'm just going to charge all the way up. No point throwing these Hydro Cannons. I want to be able to deal a ton of damage to whatever comes back in, because I was, I don't know, I was kind of like worried it might be a fighter, but yeah, it's just the Empoleon Double Charm team. I'm going to do some more fast move denial there. I don't want any waterfalls getting through. I want to take this guy down. So because I use fast move denial, I'm actually going to beat him by exactly one Hydro Cannon, one waterfall, and I'm going to have one extra Hydro Cannon. Now they have a Clefable with 2 shields, though. This is still difficult. I didn't count my fast moves properly there, so you see they get an extra charm through. But I was panicking a little bit about whether or not I would actually get to 3 mirror shots here. But it does look like I will comfortably get to 3 mirror shots, and they don't have any Pokemon to swap to. So they delay the game a little bit by throwing a charge move, but the end result will still be the same. I'll just get this this mirror shot. They got the defense drop on the Psychic. I think that's what they were hoping for by throwing it. I thought it was a bit odd that they would throw it, but it does make a little bit of sense. But yeah, so only a 2 out of 5 there. I think the first 3 games of that set were like very, very rough. Rough games, hard to win team comps. Sometimes that'll happen, and it happens a lot more to teams like this that are very just squishy throughout. There's not a lot of room for error, so if I'm making just a couple mistakes, that can be enough. So Tangrowth lead. This is a pretty neutral lead for most Pokemon. Tangrowth actually has some really good coverage. I am going to shield this Power Whip because I don't want to have shield a Rock Slide later, and the Shadow Dragonite comes in, so I'm going to hit it with a close combat and swap out. Honestly, I probably didn't need to hit it with a close combat. I could have saved that energy for later, but just throwing a charge move that deals that much damage and being able to clear the debuff is huge. So Tangrowth's going to come back in. I am going to just throw Drill Pecks at it until I faint, and this guy is saving his shields. I don't know what's in the back, but it's got to be something worth saving shields for. So in this case, I have a tough decision. Both Pokemon have debuff moves, so it's tough to know what to bring in. This is actually going to be very hard. I'm going to charge up to Wild Charges. So the thing here is I have Shield Octazooka, so I'm attack debuff now, and what I want to do is throw 2 Wild Charges, so I will be double attack debuffed, quadruple defense debuffed, and then I'll be able to clear them all in one swap. I get both shields as well. And I'm going to beat this Kingdra to the close combat, and we're going to be able to close it out. So that's just the power of being able to get rid of your debuffs. If their Kingdra felt pressure, I think, to like keep energy. Otherwise, my Magnezone would just beat it to a charge move there. And if my Magnezone was still debuffed, or if I just let my Magnezone go down, that would be a completely different story. So remember to clear your debuffs, especially important for Magnezone, also very important for Gallade. But we're going to see a Shadow Dragonite lead yet again. Versus Shadow Dragonites, I almost consider baiting. Yeah, actually I do this time. Whoa, okay. Just because they know a close combat's going to KO them. They're at half HP from Confusions. So I'm going to swap, and unfortunately they're going to come with Poliwrath. So Poliwrath, a pretty good counter to Empoleon. I actually don't see a lot of Poliwrath usually, but they're charging all the way up. I didn't notice this when I was playing at all. So I was playing like they didn't charge all the way up. Dynamic punch KOs, but they have a ton of energy still. So I assumed I could just go in with Gallade and tank an Ice Punch and take down this Poliwrath, but it turns out they're going to be at 2 Ice Punches. So in order to preserve my energy, I should shield, and I can close combat whatever comes back in, which will be something I shouldn't have close combated. So this happened actually quite a bit. But these are Pokemon that Magnezone can deal with. I've realized I have to go for the Mirror Shot here. And they fall for it. And unfortunately, hopefully I didn't CMP tie there. What I should have just done is committed to the farm down and thrown the Wild Charge on Clefable. So I'm actually not going to hit any of these bubbles. I need every little bit of energy I can get. So that one extra move is going to make it possible for me to get to this Wild Charge. So yet another mechanic coming in handy. This is undercharging right there. And by undercharging, I mean not having any bubbles this time. But yeah, that's what can happen, right? If you get in a CMP tie with a move that you actually don't want to throw, like you would have wanted to throw it if you got to go first, then just don't hit the bubbles, right? You don't get all the energy back, or you don't get any energy back, but it allows for the farm down, which can be very, very important. So, all right, this next game we are going to see an Empoleon lead. I've been playing these a bit differently each time. It looks like I'm going for the close combat this time. I actually think, in hindsight, that the most successful version of this was when I swapped immediately into Empoleon. But instead, they swap into their Gallade. So Empoleon Gallade is it's a very good core, and it's like people know about this core. So I thought they were just at a Leaf Blade here. Yeah, this is the one. But they were in a close combat because there was an invisible confusion that got through. They got a free confusion. And I thought I was counting at least. Like, I'll have to go through this again, but that was just it was a confusion that I just couldn't see that apparently registered. Otherwise, they shouldn't have enough energy. But I was pretty hard countered in the back anyways. This would have been a very, very tough game. They're running Toxic Rogue. Oh yeah, this is the Throw Tactical team that I've been trying recently, and I like it a lot. It's you're not really threading such a fine line like with this team. With this team, you're very squishy, so it is more exciting though. Just because if you make a little mistake like that, boom, your Empoleon's gone and the game's over, right? Same with Shadow Magnezone. You mess up a little bit, game's over. But we're going to swap right into this Empoleon, into their Charmer, and in comes Snorlax. So I don't like to shield anything versus Snorlax. The goal here was to bait out their best Magnezone counter. And if that's Snorlax, that's perfectly fine with me. They're actually going to let me get to 2 Hydro Cannons here. So I'm going to... Oh, I might actually shield this. I probably won't. Yeah, so I have quite a big advantage right now because I have a shield advantage and their Snorlax is very low. They still do have a move, but I am going to call the no shield here because they think that I'm going back in with Gallade. So they actually swap here into Clefable, like hard lock themselves in. I'm not actually quite at 2 Wild Charges there, so I don't know what I'm doing. But it's actually kind of hard to see. But I will get to that next Wild Charge to try and take down this Clefable and swap into Gallade to take them down. So I have a 2 shield advantage now, and I was really thinking it was double Charmer and it was game over. But luckily, it's Charizard. And I'm going to throw this close combat before they throw any charge moves, but I doubt they will. And we're going to get to this, well, didn't need to get to the Leaf Blade. I overtapped and sent the confusion through, but that was enough to KO anyways. Yeah, so that worked out pretty well as well. I think that was me misclicking. I don't think I was debating changing the team yet. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun using Gallade. I've gotten beaten by it a lot. Like it's very good against the other teams I've made. So being able to finally use it has been a lot of fun. In this case, I'm just throwing confusions until they throw Octazooka. I'm going to shield with the Octazooka. Hope it debuffs me. It doesn't debuff me. Look, so it doesn't debuff me. Guess what's going to happen? Oh, they don't shield anyways. Okay, ignore me. But whatever comes in next, I'm spamming that swap into Empoleon button before it even happens. Because I know they're bringing in their best Gallade counter. I try fast move to now, but I mess up, and they get a waterfall through. So I'm really hoping that I get a waterfall through here too, and I do. So we're back even on even ground. And I'm going to, I think, win CMP or something here. Because we should be at the same amount of energy. Yeah, win CMP. So at this point, I am fine taking shield advantage and letting my Empoleon go down. I just want my Magnezone to come in here. I can farm down and take a ton of energy to the next matchup. But unfortunately, this is Incinerate Typhlosion. So I don't actually know the fast move counts for Incinerate. This is what, like, kind of let me know that I didn't know the fast move counts for it. And because of that, because I learned I didn't know the fast move counts, probably tomorrow I'm going to be releasing another, or an addendum, I guess, to the counting video, focusing on 5-turn fast moves, or just Incinerate right now. But if they add more 5-turn fast moves, they'll all they'll all fall under that category as well. So look out for that tomorrow, either morning or after. I don't know when it'll come out yet. I still have to put the presentation and everything together. But it should just be a short-ish little video, kind of giving you the counts for if you're playing against Incinerate or if you're playing with Incinerate, right? So those counts are different. There's a nice new chart that'll be in there too from Go Stadium as well. Shout out to those guys. They do a ton of work for the Pokemon Go PvP community. But that chart is going to be a good thing that you'll want to memorize or have a pretty good hold on. But yep, that's this team with the Gallade lead. The problem, like, I can't put out as many teams as I do in Great League as Ultra League, just because I think the number of Pokemon I have powered up to the 2500 level for Ultra League is maybe around like 7 or 8, whereas in Great League I have access to many more Pokemon because I've used them for Sylph Cups, or I could use them for Sylph Cups in the future, so it doesn't feel like as much of an investment. But as far as Ultra League goes, I'll try and put out a couple more teams, but like I said, it's rough, and more of my team building ideas fail in Ultra League as well. It seems like the meta is less static. There's a lot of changes all the time, so I try my best, but like I said, team building doesn't always work how you think it's going to, but this team did pretty well. So here's the video, and as always, guys, thanks for watching.